Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and
Hello,
welcome.
people.
Oh man,
Hello.
ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 94 of the Hardly Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of.
What's the word?
Don't fuck this up, Vince.
What's the word? Oh, hold on. I have a lot of opinions on what it could be. Let me think of the word. Jeez. Honestly, in my honest opinion, I am very forgetful. I can't remember what
I'll
the word
give
is.
you
What
a
is
hint. It starts with an O, ends with an onions.
Onions. I mean, you set me up for that one.
I didn't even realize I set you up for it, but you're right. I totally did.
Set and serve, lad.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're full of opinions here.
Yes, we are.
And
Some more than others.
some more than others. And you know what? It's good to be back, guys. So just kind of a little recap here. We were doing a podcast today. We got up to 93 episodes. We were going to push to do 100. And we just had a really bad episode. That episode 93 titled Gibberish. Go check it out if you want.
I mean, it was a good title.
It was
It was a good title.
There's a reason why it's called Gibberish, which you'll know if you go listen to it.
I have because I'm part of the Hardly Millennial crew. I have some insight, some behind the scenes knowledge as to how the titles get made for these.
Yes.
You guys really put heart and soul into what the titles are going to be.
To be fair, some of them we don't.
Sometimes.
But some of them we really
But
do.
case in point, Exhibit A, Gibberish. You guys at the end of that listened back to it and went, yeah, this is
what
gibberish.
this is.
This is just gibberish, so.
It really was.
It
though,
really was an
dude.
apropos title though. But yeah, if you're looking for good background noise after about the 10-minute mark when they're talking about Mother's Day, that's when the gibberish really begins. They start off strong and then just somewhere just like a flan in a cupboard.
Well, and that's exactly my point. You know, after that episode, it was like, okay, you know, we were going to push to 100 before we just started making this weekly thing. But
ambitious.
I made the command decision, and I was like, we're not going to put out 6 like shit episodes just to get us, or 7 shit episodes just to get us to 100. When we could just stop and then just like, all right, we'll wait. And
just like when you're working out, you don't want to count shitty repetitions. You don't want to make shitty podcasts.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
One good podcast is worth 5 shitty ones.
Exactly. So that's the plan for now on. The plan is to be releasing a podcast every Monday. These podcasts are pre-recorded either on Saturday or Sunday. Then they're going to be released that following Monday. So that's going to be how we do this going forward now. And because we're only doing it weekly, we're going to try to not only make it a 3-person or more podcast as much as possible, but we're also not going to be putting a time limit on it anymore. So we're going to be doing just free-form conversation. If it ends at an hour, so be it. If it ends at 3.5 hours, so be it.
That's what you heard, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Hardly Millennial has gone off the chain.
Off the chain.
Off the chain.
So today, to bring us back to this episode here, no Matthew with us today, unfortunately, but I do have...
You know, I walked in on him before we started the podcast. I was so certain. I was faced with a paradox, if you will, 2 doors.
Yes.
On one side is a bathroom where I can go and relieve my bowels, and another one is a possibly masturbating Matthew. By your laughter, you already know which door I chose. I was like, it's the one on the left, obviously. There's Matt under his covers with his phone up. I'm like, I hope that wasn't what I thought it was. I don't think it was, because his door was already open.
I was going to say, and Matthew's somebody who watches a lot of like Let's Plays on his phone, and he watches them as he's going to sleep.
I can tell you what, if I'm in my bed and my phone's out, I am not watching Let's Plays.
I have a laptop.
I have a Hulk, so.
But yeah, so Matthew's in bed right now. If you didn't gather from all of that,
me and
it's
Adam.
It's late.
We've been making a habit of this, Adam. We've been making a habit of this. The last podcast we did too. What was it?
The sneezing fits
with the cartel of homicide. Yeah,
Yes.
side of cartel homicide.
Yes.
That one that was a short order late night
Yeah.
come over quick. I need to do a podcast.
It was.
I mean, this one, while it was planned, we didn't plan for it to be this late. Right now, we're 9 minutes away from midnight.
9 minutes
right
away
now.
on Saturday night.
So we're both very caffeinated. We're both probably pretty tired. Me, when I get tired, that's like a challenge.
Well, you know what? That's why because there was definitely a point where I was like, oh, this is going to be such a late podcast and stuff. But then I just thought back to like, how many nights have you and I, Vince, just stayed up literally all night going through like 2 packs of cigarettes each?
Yep.
And just talking until the fucking morning sun.
The words, oh wow, the sun's up.
How many times that leaves our fucking mouth?
How many times we said those words in our teens, man? Even in our early 20s, we we're like, oh hey, check that out.
Yeah, dude, all the fucking time. So it's so here we are. It's going to be a goofy podcast. It's going to be a fun podcast.
It might go to some weird places.
It might go to some weird places.
You never know. You never know. Again, we are off the chain.
Off the chain. So I found, I already had this conversation with Vince about off the podcast, but I usually get these double shot vanilla Starbucks coffees. And when I knew we were going to be doing a late night podcast, first of all, I've already had one of these double shot Starbucks energy coffee goodnesses.
He's
today.
already on one.
On one. And so when I knew we were going to be doing a late podcast, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go get like an energy drink, like a Monster or something. And I went there and I was looking in the Monster section where they had all these crazy energy drinks, and way down in the corner, just like hiding there, I see the little Starbucks symbol, and I'm like, ooh, what is this? Why is this here, separated from its brothers? And
cut from the herd.
Cut from the herd. And I pick it up, dude, and it's like triple shot energy.
Load was not cut from the herd; it was leading the pack.
Yes. But dude, so I drink one of those and I feel it kicking in, and I'm excited to see the conversation we have.
All right, good times.
But just really quick too, Vince, anytime you make a louder noise, just kind of move back from the microphone a little bit. Like if you're gonna laugh loudly or something like that.
Adam, I'm gonna do my thing.
You know what? I'm just telling you.
This microphone's either gonna
help
be
the
in
audience,
or the microphone's not gonna be in it.
You know what, man? Follow your heart.
I
feel better now that it's been said, and we'll go from there.
I will take into consideration. I know one thing for sure is not to like elbow the fuck out of this table, because these microphones get all woo when you do that. So.
Yeah, it's definitely time for a different table than the one we're currently using, for sure.
I love that there is a felt rug under this
the blanket.
It is a like once really soft blanket that's a little crusty, but for the most part it's still a nice blanket on this table.
It is. So to kind of get conversation started here, and not to jump into something too serious right off the bat.
Oh, come on.
But I mean, but it's been a hot topic, especially the past couple weeks of my absence with these podcasts.
Okay.
And that is what is happening in Alabama right now as far as the abortion bill that was passed.
You're going to have to fill me in, man. I'm not.
Are you not familiar?
I really don't exist on Facebook too much, except I got some family stuff.
Well, I mean, this is all
on.
over the news too. This isn't like a Facebook thing.
I'm off.
Okay.
I am by current standards off the grid. I don't have a cable connection. I don't watch TV. I have a Netflix account.
Right.
I barely even watch that. If I'm watching that, I'm watching kid shows. News just doesn't make its way to me. I've kind of
you don't stay current though with what's going on in in politics.
No, man, I'm so burned on current events. I really, really am. It seems like okay, it seems like the media, or not necessarily the media, but just current events are jumping the shark. Everything's so commonplace. Everything's so. What's the word? Blasé now. Like even school shootings are just like, hey, everybody check it out. There was another one in Indiana or something like that, or some politician does something crazy, and just honestly, it was like junk food really. Watching the news and trying to keep up with current events felt a lot like eating a 12-pack of donuts. And trust me, I've done that plenty of times, and I felt the same way after, watching CNN that I do after eating a 12-pack of donuts. And just overloaded and bloated. So I stopped. So please fill me in. What's going on in Alabama with you said abortion?
Yeah, so they passed an abortion law an abortion banning law. So basically abortion is banned. It's forgive me, I haven't done like a crazy amount of reading or research into this. I just know the basis of what's going on. But basically they passed a bill saying you can't have an abortion. I believe it's the heartbeat bill. So once you can hear a heartbeat, I think can't do it anymore regardless. And they put a crazy jail sentence on I don't think the person who gets it done, but like a doctor who does it, it's like a 99-year prison sentence.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's draconian, dude.
So there's a lot of people up in arms about this in Alabama, not just Alabama, but the whole country now.
Okay, so okay, I know you said you haven't done a crazy amount of research on this. Remember, folks, opinions. So what's the basis for doing that? What they have to have some reason, even if it's bullshit. They have to have some reason why they're doing this. It can't just be like, "Hey, folks, we're banning abortion." Bye.
Well, I think it was voted on.
Again, though, on what basis? What like?
Well, just the basis of what the argument's always been.
Okay, well,
is it killing a life or isn't it? And they decided that it's not, and they decided that if you're going to live in the state, that you have to abide by those rules because it's the law in that state now.
If you can hear the face I'm making at home, say something in the comments. I don't know. That seems incredibly bizarre to me that a state would go so far as to just ban abortion. I mean, again,
why?
Why
does
banning,
that seem strange?
Like banning anything, it's not going to stop it. You're still going to have back alley abortions happening. They're just going to be unregulated, unmitigated, and more of a threat to, the health of the mother.
Right.
Than it would be in a sterile clinic where it can be done, surgically.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but it doesn't surprise me that with how hot of a topic that particular issue is, it doesn't surprise me that a state would go as far, especially a state like Alabama, that's right there in the Bible Belt.
Well, here's I guess
it's not in the Bible Belt, but
here's another question then. What are they going to do as far as when they see the rise of, and I'm doing air quotes here with my fingers, miscarriages go up? What are they going to do about that? Because I promise that's going to happen. They're going to see a whole lot of strange miscarriages coming through the state of Alabama. Well, people have Google now. They know, hey, how do I get rid of a baby without getting an abortion? Try getting punched in the fucking stomach. Try doing cocaine. There's going to be all these horrible ways that people are going to be terminating pregnancies now. And, good job, state of Alabama. I don't know if that's what you were going for, but... I mean, rock and roll, fucking...
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really bother me that Alabama made this particular law or put a heavier, put their foot down on their stance on abortion
There's a lot of things that Alabama needs to put their foot down on. One is education. But no, we're going to worry about fucking abortion.
Well, true. I agree.
We have the worst fucking education system in the nation. Let's have more babies.
No, I agree. The priorities are screwed up for sure. But still, it's something I do understand, and that's completely in states' rights to do. That's the whole point of the United States. But
it was. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't think anybody does.
But at the same time, it's because one of the things that they also ban now is if you're a woman and you're raped and you get pregnant, you still can't get an abortion in Alabama.
Well, I figured it was a blanket that. I don't think any abortion clinic.
Well, it's not quite blanket because it's up until you can hear a heartbeat. So I think you can have an abortion up until
okay. So just never go in for an ultrasound. Don't ever go in for an ultrasound. You don't want to hear a heartbeat. Don't go in for an ultrasound.
Right.
You're nope, can't have an abortion now. Damn. You can hear a heartbeat pretty fucking early too.
I think it's 6 weeks, isn't it? Or no, maybe that's way too early.
I think it's 8 or 9 actually. But still, that is the median time when most people find out they're pregnant, is between that like 8 to 12 week mark. That's when people are like, oh shit, I might be pregnant.
Right.
By then, for most people, it's already too late. So unless you're pissing on a pregnancy test every fucking morning, like, you know, be on top of your shit, I guess, or you know, whatever.
So as somebody like you, who is a father of one, soon to be father of two, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And what's your opinion on abortions and your stance on that? And do you think it's something that our government should be involved with? Do you think it's something that this should be decided at the states? Should it be a blanket yes or no? If there's abortions, should it be only up until a certain time?
I don't believe that any matters concerning the human anatomy on an individual basis should have anything to do with the federal government. I really don't. Or either that or the state government. Government shouldn't have anything to do with personal bodily autonomy.
Well, you're right. But the argument with abortion is that you're now not just messing with your life, with your anatomy, you're messing with the life of this child that just happens to be inside you for 9 months.
And I mean, okay, here's the thing. You can try and church abortion up all you want. I'm not against anybody doing what they feel that they need to do to maintain a healthy life, or even just accepting personal responsibility for their own decisions. But what I'm going to say to you might make a lot of people uncomfortable. And if anybody's listening to this who knows me, like you get this, but at the same time, this might sound like a little cold-blooded. So, you know, forgive me. Don't think for a second that you're not killing, because that's exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
Now, whatever your reason for doing so is strictly up to you. But you are taking a life. Now, how you feel about that, again, that's up to you.
So let me stop you right there, though. So when you say you're taking a life, do you think that the second you find out, the woman finds out she's pregnant, like is there, so like the day after, if all of a sudden like you impregnate your wife and the day after she knows she's pregnant and she whatever it is,
miraculously,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just
for sure,
giving
for
an
sure.
extreme example here, but like, just at what point would you say that the baby is a baby? Do you think it's only up until you hear the heartbeat? Do you think the second the conception happens?
Baby, fetus, or even just dividing cells, you're still dealing with life. Mm-hmm. This is still life.
Right.
Whether it's a very microscopic multicellular organism, an underdeveloped fetus, or a almost full-term infant, you're still dealing with a life. Again, how you feel about taking a life is solely up to you. But what I can tell you right now is that some people can rest easy knowing that they've done something for themselves and for their life and personal well-being that would have been better than the alternative. And if you can lay your head on the pillow and go to sleep comfortably, more power to you. I'm not going to judge you personally, because I have never, nor will I ever be in that situation. So I cannot pass judgment. I try not to pass judgments on situations that don't involve or concern me.
Right.
Or loved ones, at least. You know what I mean? So when it comes to matters of abortion, to kind of roundabout way of saying it, I'm kind of on both sides. I mean, I'm as much pro-life as I am pro-death. I'm really like death and life, two sides of the same coin. That's a really long arc and tangent that I'm not going to go into right now, or I might. Death is natural. Life is natural. If it shouldn't exist, it wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if, regardless of what the situation or the circumstances are surrounding a pregnancy that is unwanted by the mother, if the mother chooses or wills to terminate that pregnancy, I believe that she has every right to.
Okay.
People have the right to voluntary amputation, but you're telling me they don't have the right to terminating a pregnancy? Like,
but again, that's where the argument stems from, you know, because really what you're saying, because you're sitting here and you're saying, and forgive me, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but you're sitting here and saying that, hey, if you get an abortion, recognize that what you're doing is murder, but it's okay.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Right. So, but the argument is, if it's murder, I mean, I'm not allowed to just kill you as long as the circumstances are correct.
Bro, I'm not growing inside of you, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's the argument, though. That's
a stupid argument.
But if you're saying it's murder, though, you're putting the same amount of value on that human life as you would be on like somebody who's out of the womb, correct? Or you're saying that piece of life is less valuable.
I'm not saying that one's more valuable than the other. I'm saying they're both equally fucking worthless.
Okay.
Really? No, truly. No. Okay, stop. Okay. I think this is where the breakthrough in communication's happening here.
Okay.
I don't put the same value on life, especially human life, that other people do. You want to know why? There's too fucking many of us. Dude, we're reaching 8 billion people. We're not a commodity. There's a fucking surplus of human beings right now. And nature's trying to shake us off, but we keep taking away the fucking shoelaces. Okay. I'm all for a decrease in the human population. Yet here I am breeding. Strange. Do I put value on individual lives that mean something to me? Absolutely. I would murder for you. I would murder for my kids. I'd murder for my wife. Would I do the same for literally everyone else in the world? No.
Right.
I don't know everyone else in the world. I worry about what is in my immediate sphere of influence. So when it comes to matters of human life and how I value them, like I said, whether it's an embryo, a fetus, a full-term baby, or one that's already out of the womb, it's equally fucking worthless. It's not special or precious. It is a recycled cellular organism of two other recycled cellular organisms that boned and reproduced. The miracle of life, my friend. Maybe it's a little dark, but it's my opinion.
Well, it's dark, but really all I gather from that is just like kind of the same way I feel about politics right now, and just in general, where it's just like I don't give a fuck. Do what you're gonna do.
No, seriously,
know?
Either nuke the whole fucking world or disarm them. I don't give a fuck.
Because even in the realm of politics itself, I've reached this point, and you were touching on this a little bit when before we got into the conversation of abortion, where I used to be somebody where I truly did find joy in kind of researching about everything that was going on and discussing about it with people and such. Yeah. And I'm sure I'll be a bandwagoner like many other people are when election years come around, and and have my spurts of research on what's going on and conversations. But for the most part, I've definitely have reached this point where it's like everything's become so divided and so polarized and so convoluted and so just annoying. The screaming back and forth where I'm just like,
I keep hearing a lot of people talking about this division that everyone's feeling, and man, I gotta say, I don't feel it. I don't feel it the way we did 3 years ago.
But I think you don't feel it the way that we did 3 years ago is because I think what I'm discussing right now, where I'm at as far as how I handle politics, I think you were at this a lot sooner than like I was.
Oh, okay.
So because you stopped caring a while back,
I got
you kind of have been watching this.
So burned out, yeah.
So because I've been dropping off also the past few years, but, I was keeping up a little bit, and I catch the occasional, Paul Rubin or Ben Shapiro debate or the Young Turks, whatever it is.
Ben Shapiro's still out there. Wow.
He has a podcast every day, man.
The left hasn't chopped his head off yet?
They've tried.
Oh, wow.
They've tried. But they...
good on you, Ben.
Yeah. But
what about Milo? Is Milo still rocking around?
He's still rocking around, but he was like a fad basically during the elections, and he's gone now pretty much.
See, he was a scapegoat.
Yeah.
He was a scapegoat for all that nonsense.
But anyways, like these were people that I was following a lot and things, and following what was going on in the world, and it is still very polarized. Fuck, I see it just on my Facebook alone with just the friends I have, I constantly find myself unfollowing people, not unfriending them, but just unfollowing their posts because they'll say something like, open your eyes, people, and post whatever. And it's just getting to this point where it's like, I just don't fucking care anymore. I just don't care. When you meet somebody, the first question or one of the first questions asked should not be, do you like Trump? Or what are your political beliefs? Or what political party are you affiliated with? And I'm noticing that more and more and more.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Big
okay.
time,
So
dude.
I work with a lot of individuals from the northern states like Oregon, Washington, a lot of blue states. And when I first found this out, because I consider myself to be somewhat neutral on a lot of subjects. However, I would say politically, I do lean a little bit more conservative. So I was a little concerned with how I would be viewed by who the media had told me were these crazy, leftists.
And how sad is that, right?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
you go into a job and you're like, oh, these people are from this area of the country.
Yeah.
I wonder how this is going to play out.
Like, I'm expecting...
Like, how crazy.
I'm expecting to be crucified for being even the slightest bit, against the grain of leftist politics. I kept my mouth shut for the longest time about a lot of stuff, and I listened to a lot of the political conversation that was going around me, and of course it was a lot of what I expected. However, it wasn't so aggressive as I guess the media portrays it. One, and two, when I started actually talking about how I felt about certain things, I actually got some intelligent discourse. I didn't get screeched at. I wasn't sent up to HR for thought crimes or anything insane like that. It was good, intelligent debate, and more of a reason why I can't pay attention to the media anymore. They really blow shit so far out of proportion.
They really do.
It makes you not only lose your sense of humanity, but you're okay. You're going to hear this a lot in life, everybody. I'm sure you do on a daily basis. Oh, we're doomed. There's no hope for humanity. No, there is. People just put all the garbage in your face, so that's all you focus on. So that's all you think about is just how shitty the human race can be. Guess what? It can also be fucking awesome.
Well, the problem is, and I've tried to explain this to people on both sides of the aisle before, is when you watch the media, any kind of news, and this even goes with some new media too, like some of the YouTubers out there that report news or some of the podcasts out there. No media is not guilty for this kind of stuff. And these media sources will sit there and when they're talking about the Democrats, they're talking about all the extremes. They're talking about the snowflakes, the social justice warriors. Yeah. Then when they're talking about the Republicans, they're talking about, the Nazis and the far right and, the whatever, just the extremes of the Republican side. And what I try to explain to people on both sides is, those are both a very small percentage of the people who actually call themselves a liberal or somebody who calls themselves a conservative.
Extremely small cross-section.
Yes. Most people are willing to sit down with you and have a conversation with you and say, here's why I believe this, or here's why I believe this. But the media's creating this fucking cartoon outlook on both sides.
You know how they do it. Check it out, man. What's the old saying? There's one in every group. In every group of very open-minded, intelligent, tolerant, liberal leftists out there, you're always going to have the one who has the meltdown.
Yes.
Guess who the camera's going to be fixated on?
Yes.
Not the rational, thinkers. It's going to be the one, Trump literally is Hitler, bruh. That's who's going to get the most screen time.
Yes.
Why? Because they're sensational. Why? Because they can go viral. Why? Because people will click on it if it's got a good fucking tagline.
And we as people are fucking sheep. So if that's how you're defining both sides, well, you can't blame people then that when they go into these political conversations, well, they're going to automatically be on the defense because they're told, watch out for this one.
It's divide and conquer tactics, man.
Yes.
It's divide and conquer tactics. And I just don't understand why more people aren't aware of that. Or are they aware of that? Are you aware that we are currently being undermined and forced to pit against one another?
Well,
Write down what you think in the comments.
I don't even think that most people are aware of it, but what I do think you're starting to see more is an influx of people like you and I who are just going, I just don't fucking care anymore.
Just disillusioned.
Like, I just don't care.
Totally disillusioned
you know?
from everything. This narrative that's being pushed.
Yeah.
This force of change in society. Where it's just not working. They're trying to cram this pill down our throat, and I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if anyone's doing it, but nobody's biting, man. Nobody's into this narrative that's trying to be spun of this.
Nobody that matters, at least, for sure.
For sure. But again, they're empty can. Excuse me. The empty can rattles the most, as they say.
Yeah.
Like me. Oh God, I wish that weren't true. I may say a lot of things that make me sound like I'm really smart, but trust me, I am not. I am not.
We're like the Matrix over here. We just use big words to make ourselves sound intelligent.
Oh, the architect.
The architect.
Oh God. You know what's funny when you actually break like I've watched episodes of certain channels on YouTube that analyze scenes from the Matrix. Right. There's one that actually went so far as to put idiot subtitles for that whole scene.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, like the imminent architecture of this system is vast.
Right.
It's pretty big. I love it, man. I love it. But...
there was a rumor going around that it might not even be a rumor. It might be confirmed that they're going to make more of those movies.
No, they don't need to do that.
They might,
don't
though.
need they
I
need
don't
to stop.
I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like a continuation of like the Neo story or anything. I think it's going to be one of those like happens in the same universe, but it's a different story now.
Either that,
it'll be called like Matrix Legacy or something.
What if it's just the next iteration of the Matrix? Because they stated, the trilogy before that. Oh, this is the 7th time that this has happened. We are becoming increasingly
good at it. They might do that. Do you know what? I would probably be down for that if they made it like a show. I don't think I could do like 7 more fucking movies of The Matrix. But if they did like a show, like a running show with seasons of The Matrix, separate story, whatever, I'd fuck with that.
Adam, I need to take a brief moment from this conversation to let you know how happy I am that you showed me a certain TV show on Netflix.
What TV show was it?
Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, isn't it fantastic, Vince?
Fucking love that series. There were a couple of duds. I was expecting more, but I got just so amped over several episodes. I'm going to tell you my top 3 favorite.
Tell people what that show is first, for those who don't know.
Love, Death, and Robots. If you like Black Mirror, check out Love, Death, and Robots. It's on the same tier of just visually striking, great storytelling.
Honestly, it might be the same company with how the opening
The intro
works.
kind of looks like it's the same, right?
And I think it's literally the same sound bite. That like weird flipping of the technology.
Yeah, I know for a fact it is. So the show is a series of 10 to 15 minute vignettes of a
I think it's more than that. I think it's like 20 something.
There's a couple of them that run 20, but on average they're about 12 to 15 minutes. There's a couple that run a little long though, but they're short little vignettes of just short sci-fi stories. Mm-hmm. Each and every one's just another random
all animated.
They're all animated, and I want you to keep that in mind if you watch it and you get to episode 3. Remember,
yes,
it is CGI. You're watching.
I know exactly what episode you're talking about too.
Oh man! So I'll set the premise for this episode because I love describing it. I like to use this one as the benchmark for the show. This woman is doing her makeup in a mirror in her apartment, and she hears a loud bang from the building kind of across the way. So she looks out the window and she sees a dude holding a gun across the way, and it's like, this guy obviously just murdered, and he's looking at her from across the way, and she's like, this dude just murdered somebody. Now he's looking at me. I gotta get the fuck out of Dodge. I gotta get to work. She's like, I gotta get to work. So she calls the cops, and it's the most half-assed phone call you've ever heard in your life. Yeah, there's been a shooting. It's at my building. I can't stay. Bye. Like, thanks for the homicide tip. I guess we'll get there. If it had been a longer phone call, though, you wouldn't have had an episode. So she's in a cab, and she's on her way to work. She finishes this terrible phone call to the police, and you can see alongside her another cab pulls up, and it's the gentleman whom she saw commit a murder.
Yeah.
And he's looking intently at her through the window of this other cab.
Spoiler alert, by the way, guys.
Oh, I'm breaking this whole episode down. I'm breaking it all down. So yeah, spoilers abound. So she is apparently a dancer at an incredibly erotic BDSM type club,
like a
thing.
fetish club. Yeah,
the whole scene, I had a half a chub. Like, I had the weirdest chub of my whole life.
All animated, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
Animated. So that scene happens, and as the girl's walking up the stairs, she is immediately accosted by this drag queen type. Like the first words out of this person's mouth are, "What the fuck, bitch!" It was just so comical. I was on the floor. Like, I was intense the whole episode, and then that happened. I'm just like, ah. So she's being accosted by one of her coworkers or whatever. She has to get ready for her show. She goes out. She gets ready for her show. The murderer comes up the stairs right behind her to her work. And, of course, the brazen individual who just let his coworker in decides, hey, this random-looking weirdo seems like a customer. Slides him on in. So he's watching this erotic burlesque show happening, and it's the girl, of course, whom he's been looking for this whole time.
Uh-huh.
She notices it's him and immediately leaves the vicinity as quick as she can, acquires a weapon from her manager, goes on the run. She's running, not calling a fucking cab, not hiding, running like a smart person would. This guy is keeping up with her. So eventually they get to an apartment. She is hiding in a random apartment from this guy.
Uh-huh.
He breaks in and very calmly wants to talk to her.
Of course.
Wants to talk things out. Of
just
course.
wanna talk.
She's not having it. She's got the gun. She's ready to go. So there's a struggle. You hear a bang. Next thing you know, she just shoots the guy. And then she looks out the window.
Oh, what does she see, Vince? What does she see when she looks out the window, Vince?
You'll have to watch the episode to find out.
It is a great show, guys.
It's a fucking doozy.
There was, and when the reason why we put such emphasis on the animation aspect of it also was because,
so crisp.
Yes.
So
when I
lifelike.
first started watching, because my brother recommended it to me. So when I first started watching it, I did not know that it was all anime. Well, actually, with the exception of one. There's one episode that's real people.
Which one?
The freezer episode.
Oh, okay.
You remember that? Yeah, there is one episode. Go check out that one. Topher Grace in that
was
one.
actually...
I liked it. I did.
It wasn't on my top 3, but it was definitely had a runner-up spot.
Yeah, it was a good one, dude.
It was a great... Yeah, okay, so Topher Grace and his girlfriend...
Hold on. Don't ruin that one.
Okay,
Go check out that one, guys.
Yeah, do that. But just watch this. They're only 15 minutes long. If you're looking...
And what I was I don't mean to cut you off there, but what I was going to say about the well, fuck you, Vince.
Well, fine then.
What I was going to say about the animation was when I went into it, I didn't realize all of them were supposed to be animated. And I remember I believe there was an episode called like Lucky 13 or something like that. And I got to that episode and I thought it was real people. The entire time. And then it was one particular character that got introduced. And I was looking at like the way this guy was talking and moving his face, and all of a sudden I was like, "Holy fuck! This is animated. These aren't real people. This is all fake."
Yeah,
dude, we're not gonna need actors anymore. We will not need actors anymore.
Nope.
There will be zero need for them.
3D modeling is on point, and that's the thing, is it's only getting better.
Oh, man. It's cool, though, because what I think is going to end up happening is you're going to get this combination of how movies are made and how actors act, where they're going to be wearing mocap suits.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, the mocap suits are they're like these gray suits with a bunch of little dots on it, and that's how they use for motion tracking in like video games.
Think of a one of those skin tight bodysuits with ping pong balls hot glued onto it. Yeah.
Yes,
that's
exactly what it is. And they use these suits for a lot of video games. So they use them for a lot of like the movie-esque games like The Last of Us. They've used them for Mortal Kombat. They've used them for a lot of like the movie-based ones like Until Dawn or Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, things like that. And I think what we're going to end up seeing is the computer animation is going to become so advanced to where any actor could play any role, because it would just be about putting them in this mocap suit and then capturing their character and their voice. And all of a sudden, Samuel L. Jackson can play a 13-year-old white kid, that lives in Phoenix, Arizona.
Bro, that's going to get rid of stuntmen.
No, I don't think it will quite get rid of stuntmen. It will change their job.
You think so?
Stuntman will be different. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It'll be a motion capture jumps and motion capture rolls.
Exactly.
And
there
stuff
won't be really any need anymore for like, say somebody to like a stuntman to jump from like a 12-story building onto a giant mat, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be like if they have fight scenes, those are stunt people that come in doing stuff like maybe they just need them to fall off of like, instead of 12 stories, 12 feet, whatever it is. So I think the job will change. I don't think it'll completely go away.
Okay.
And I don't think live action film will completely go away either. You'll still, it's like how people still shoot with like film instead of digital. You're just going to have that. There'll be an influx of these computer animated films, but you'll have people who still enjoy the live action stuff. I think that's kind of what's going to happen. Really, I think all movies are just going a direction where they're all just going to become interactive games. Just like the Heavy Rains Until Dawn, where it's, hey, press X if you want them to do or say this.
Adam, I've got a question for you. You've asked me a couple of opinionated questions tonight, so I'm going to ask you one.
Okay.
How do you feel about that exact thing happening under legal contractual, agreements with actors who are deceased? So say you have an actor, let's take Carrie Fisher.
Right.
Carrie Fisher had obviously signed her image rights over.
Yes.
So that they could use 3D imaging for her, which, they've done posthumously several times. Do you see that being a trend? Do you see actors dying and their 3-dimensional visage and voice carrying on?
I could see it happening, but I think it would end rather quickly. Because, there was a big argument about, or at least the most recent controversy over this was when they did Rogue One, Star Wars Rogue One, right?
Yes.
And it wasn't even a big character if you're a big Star Wars fan, but not a really big character to just your average, moviegoer who just checking out the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
But remind me who he was. He was like a general on the Death Star or something. He was in the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then they put him in computer.
Grand Moff Tarkin. Yeah.
Okay, he was like a general on the Death Star, though,
yes.
right?
Well,
okay.
yeah, he was directly under like Lord Vader. Yeah.
Okay, so for those who don't know, that was an actor who was in the 4th, 5th, and 6th movie. Obviously, died a long time ago. He was an old guy.
Yeah.
And because Rogue One was this prequel, they found an actor had the same body type as him, and then they posted his face onto this other actor. And it was, you could tell if you were really looking for it that it was fake, but it was pretty good. It was pretty realistic.
Until it moved.
Until it moved. But there was a lot of controversy over it because people were saying that was disrespectful, disrespectful to the actor who died, because like, oh, well, now we can just what's the point of hiring Brad Pitt now when you can just computer animate him in, right?
But at the same time, think about royalties. If
royalties, sure. Yeah. But I think it's something to where there's going to be basically a line saying you can't use anybody from the past up to this point.
What if celebrities are more than willing to agree to something like that, though?
Well, I think I was just going to mention, I think now if just like how we can sign, organ donor cards, before we get our license, saying that, hey, when I die, you can harvest my organs and do whatever you want with them. Well, I think it should get to a point where you can do the same thing if you're an actor or actress, to do the same thing with your image. You can sign over your image rights, just as Carrie Fisher did. That states like, oh, you can use my image, after I die. And some contracts, I'm sure, will be like, oh, for 10 years up after I die.
Can you imagine, though, companies who specify and specifically that 3D capturing a human being and like collecting a database of verbiage to use in movies forever?
Yeah.
Somebody whose job it is to like 3-dimensionally reconstruct a person at any age in their life, like in Tron Legacy when they made up young Jeff Bridges.
Well, the thing is, what they'll probably end up doing, if we get to a point to where it will be in an actor's contract, this image rights clause, right? I think what they'll end up doing is probably go through this process with the actor or actress to put all of their information to a database for when or if that happens. So that what they would probably do is have them record a sequence of words, yelling, whatever it is, just to record the sound of their voice. They don't need them to say specific words or anything, because they can literally just, once they get the sound of their voice, put it in a machine and have it do it.
Oh, wow. And they don't even need to record like actual...
Yeah, it's probably like not a prestigious piece of software that we can use yet, but I'm sure it's there.
Something that's still being developed.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then they'll probably like 3D their face, get their dimensions, stuff like those kind of things, just in case. Like, all right, well, if you die, and I think you'll see more of that though amongst actors and actresses who are in these long saga-driven movies. So like the Marvel movies, for example. So it would make more sense for somebody like Robert Downey Jr. to say like, hey, just in case you die, we want to use you in cameos in the future, or somebody 20 years from now wants to make a prequel and have you appear in it. Can we use, your look? And he can choose at that point to say yes or no. Okay. But I don't think that's going to happen at first. I think somebody's going to get risky and put somebody that they don't like, they find maybe really disrespectful, to put into a movie after he's already passed. Like, it'll be like Robin Williams or something, right? They'll make a movie starring Robin Williams without Robin Williams.
God forbid they do that. There will be hellfire rain down upon them. And that's
just it. So, I don't think there'll be anything set in place to protect the image of these actors and actresses, these performers at first, but it will take one incident like that to really change the tables fast.
It could be something completely innocuous, just something mundane that, okay, I won't say this was mundane, but it's something that a lot of people aren't aware of when it comes to image rights. There really weren't any until Back to the Future Part 2.
Because that was because of Crispin Glover, right?
Crispin Glover, yeah.
Because he sued.
Yes, he did, because he was nowhere in Back to the Future Part 2. Fun little fact. That scene where you see him floating upside down, that was because they had an actor and a Crispin Glover mask upside down, making him look, more recognizable,
Glover,
or at least just distract you from the fact that, hey, maybe that's not a really Crispin Glover. So he sued. He sued, and that is why Motion Picture Association of America now has rules on that sort of thing.
It's funny, there's a lot of iconic movies out there that we don't realize actually kind of rewrote the business or how things were done in the business for a while. Because I remember reading one time that like when Harry Potter came out, like we didn't realize how kind of rare it was to have like a cast that was all kids like that.
10 and 11.
10 and 11. And it changed the way that they had to write up the contracts for these kids, because there was like, they couldn't make the kids work 12-hour days. They had to make sure they were going to school still. They had to make sure. So it's really, and that changed the game. Like every time now kids were doing films, like there were these long kind of processes they had to go through in order to make sure they weren't getting cheated out of money, because there were issues in the past actually back in
child exploitation in Hollywood is nothing.
I was going to say like 30s and 40s big time. I remember there were I'd be watching these old movies with my parents, and they'd point out like a kid that's in the movie, and they were like, he got fucked over. His parents took all of his money and spent it all, and he ended up being a has-been,
Yep.
and I like killed himself or something.
Jesus.
And it's crazy, dude. It's a crazy world, but if anything, I only want to be a part of it, not even for the fame and celebrity aspect per se, but just kind of like, it's just a different world,
That's what it seems like, but at the same time, I feel like you'd run into a lot of similar problems. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. It'd be first world problems on fucking steroids.
Oh, man.
But I mean, but that's just it. It's problems like, I mean, truly first world problems on steroids.
Like if you've ever seen an episode of the Kardashians, like that level first
but
world
like
problems.
but then it also makes sense because you don't understand that like these celebrities, especially people who are like on a Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian level, it's like these people can't walk out of their homes without people with cameras just surrounding them. I remember watching this, I think it was like an old prank show on like MTV or something like that, right? But so it was obviously like one celebrity pranking another celebrity.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the two celebrities were, but there were these two celebrities who were walking like down the street, and they had hidden cameras and everything because they were walking straight towards this prank. And the entire time they're walking, they're just having normal conversation with each other. But at all times, there were at least 4 people surrounding them with cameras.
Oh, geez.
Just walking around, getting around them, getting different angles.
Yeah.
And these ladies were just talking like whatever. They're just like, they were just flies, like they just it was a hot day and they had flies.
I'd imagine
buzzing
you'd
around
have
them.
to get used to it after a while, because that sort of thing would drive a normal person fucking
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Well, and that's why you always see these constant videos of
It's
these
like
celebrities.
kids in Ethiopia. That's why whenever you see pictures of them, they don't look bothered by the 30 flies on their face.
Right.
They're used to it. So,
Exactly.
Same thing.
But I mean, that's also why you see so many of these videos of these celebrities that like lash out on the paparazzi and stuff. And it's like, we watch them and they glorify what they do and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you can't blame them.
Yeah, you knew this was a package.
Yeah.
You knew this was part of the deal. You
knew.
were aware of that. And at one point, you were probably fucking cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, you just got tired of it. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You're in it now.
But man, what a world to be in, dude. Like, for sure.
I can do without it, to be honest. That
Some people
life,
can.
that life and that lifestyle, just with the flashy cars and the clothes and the galas and I don't know. None of it ever seemed that attractive to me. I don't know. I'm kind of more of an introverted person just in general, but to me that just seems like too much. That just seems like decadence on meth.
Yeah, well, it is.
I can
It
do
is
without.
for
I can
sure.
do without a lot of decadence. Like the most decadent I'll get is I will take Cheese Whiz and I will spray it in a Twinkie, and I'm like, cheesecake. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen: if you take Cheese Whiz and an aerosol can and you spray it into a Twinkie, you've got instant cheesecake.
Oh my god, I hate spray cheese.
You're crazy. Okay, now Adam. For those of you who know, for those of you who don't, is a big fan of cheese.
Yeah, I love cheese.
So much so, one of his many monikers is Mr. Cheese.
I have so many.
So many, but Mr. Cheese was one of the most common, up there with Francisco de Penguin.
Oh my,
yeah.
Vince, I totally forgot about
I didn't.
that
I was thinking
one.
about that on the ride over here.
Oh my word! I think at one point I actually listed all the ones that I could remember off to Matthew.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot about that
No,
one.
man, because I'm having a son, and he's going to be named Adam Francisco de Penguin. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I don't know how I got fucking stuck with all these nicknames growing up. Like every year or every semester, I had like a different nickname that somebody would just call me something random too, and then I just get stuck with it.
For Adam to say that he does not like spray cheese says a lot.
It's just
that's a big thing.
You know what I think it is? And this is something I've actually learned about myself just within like the last year or so, because I've always been like a picky eater, right? Very picky eater.
Okay.
Usually gravitate to the junk stuff. When I went on to like doing the keto diet and stuff for a while, like eating the kind of food I was a big jump for me. That was not like me. And what I realized within this past year is it's not so much that I'm a picky eater, but what I am is I'm a texture means a lot to me.
Okay.
I
can relate.
I have
I
a
can
lot of issues with mushy or spongy foods. So that's why I don't like yams, I don't like mashed potatoes, I don't like hash browns.
Really?
I don't like cake or brownies.
I eat my hash browns crispy, so
No, because sorry, I just like skipped over my words there. The only part that's crispy is the top part. And once you get into
I crisp them all the way through.
at least when you go to restaurants, that's how it's always served to you, I feel.
Well, restaurants fuck up.
But to be honest,
yeah.
I don't really order hash browns because that was my experience. I was like, never mind.
I also don't go to restaurants anymore. So,
but anyways, I'm a big texture eater. So when it comes to different things like that,
textures.
Yeah, a lot of textures.
I eat all the textures.
Like I have to have some kind of crunch and shit in there.
See, there are certain crunches I can do without. Onions can go kill themselves. Water chestnuts can fucking die. I hate water chestnuts so much. That one's flavor and consistency. Same with onions, actually. I can't say that about onions because they're really good when they're deep fried. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say I love onions.
Matter of fact, I might get some onion rings tonight.
Ooh, we may just have to go get food when we're done with this.
Onion ring run.
Onion
ring run.
But no, I think that's why I don't like the spray cheese. Is just because it comes out in that kind of mushy consistency, and I just don't like the way it feels in my mouth when I eat it.
Can I pose an interesting possibility to you as far as why you don't like spray cheese?
Shoot, go for it.
So, how do you feel about what is it? Like cheese flavored crackers? Cheese flavored chips.
I don't mind those. I like those.
Something that says nacho cheese flavored.
Yeah, it's crunchy. I like it.
Okay, you like those. As far as the taste goes, okay, so it's not the taste, it is the consistency for you then.
Oh, it's for sure the texture.
Okay, because for a lot of people,
100%.
it's the whey. When you're dealing with fake cheeses, you can always count on whey being in the list of ingredients.
Oh yeah, no, whey doesn't bother me.
Okay.
No, not at all. I mean, I used to be a big protein, powder nut,
Yeah.
Like I am not a stranger to the taste of whey.
Okay.
But what did bother me at first was because they do make and sell a lot of spray cheese now that is like actual cheese.
They do.
And for a while people were trying to convince me that like oh, why don't you love Cheese Whiz because it's so great and everything, and I'd have to keep trying to tell people, I go, it's not fucking cheese. If you buy a bottle of Cheese Whiz and you look on the fucking can, it says right there at the bottom, not made with real cheese.
Wrong.
No, they make some now that are. They make some flavor. I'm talking about the original Cheese Whiz.
You can't. I don't think you can find the original Cheese Whiz in stores anymore.
It's probably because people fucking caught on. They're like, "What the fuck am I putting in my mouth? You're asking me to put yellow mush in my mouth, and you're not even telling me what it is."
Well, see, that's what Cheese Whiz is now. Is you're gonna look in the list of ingredients, and the first thing you're gonna see is cheese. And then you're gonna see a list of benzoates and this.
Oh
and
yeah, well, because they're all flavored now too.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm not gonna lie, that bacon flavored one.
That's usually everyone's go-to.
You may as well. I'm not one of those big bandwagon bacon people. I mean, I like bacon well enough. Just something about bacon and cheese together is fantastic.
I love bacon. I was a fan of the bacon craze. When people started putting bacon in ice cream, that is where I drew the fucking line.
I drew the line at bacon flavored sex lube.
Bacon flavored sex lube?
You bet your ass. Yes.
Oh,
that was a thing.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I was done. I was like, okay. And then I started seeing at CVS bacon flavored chapstick, and I'm like, y'all need to stop.
Yeah, that's
bacon
when
Band-Aids. Stop.
Justin ordered. We went. I can't remember where it was. I think it was like Quick Trip or something. But they had I believe it was like a bacon and maple milkshake.
Nope.
Right? With like vanilla ice cream.
You lost me.
Yeah. And it was like a maple flavoring, and then they're like bacon bits within the ice cream. So Justin got one, and and I was having sips of it also. Dude, we threw it away before we left.
I've been
was
hearing
horrible.
I've been hearing a lot of people at work and outside of work talking about apparently this new craze, and I've seen it a couple of times. I've been on Facebook about peanut butter and pickle sandwiches.
I have not heard about
being a
that
thing.
one at all.
Apparently, the new craze is peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. Listen, folks, just because two awesome things are awesome does not mean they go together when you just push them together. Look,
No.
check it out. Monster trucks are awesome. So are boobs. If you were in a monster truck made out of boobs, you'd be fucking terrified.
You'd be...
Just because two things are awesome don't mean they go well together.
Dude...
Horseback
just-
riding is awesome. Fucking bowling is awesome, but trying to ride a horse down a bowling lane, terrifying. It is too slick. That horse will lose its footing. You will fall off the horse.
Peanut butter and pickles.
Peanut butter and pickles. Now, I have some weird combinations of food that I personally think are good, and I will always suggest people try, but I'm never going to say this is the new
Okay, so
thing.
which ones do you have? I have one in particular that everyone says is fucking weird, but I want to hear what yours are first.
I think you know what my biggest one is. I
Maybe.
stated one earlier, the Cheese Whiz and the Twinkie. That was one.
Yeah, that's
Pretty much all of them involve cheese and things.
fun.
So the other one is those of you who are listening who have been to some of my parties or soirees have had some of my world famous queso dip. I take Oreos and I dip them in that fucking queso dip and I eat them.
Really?
They're
I don't think
delicious.
I've ever seen you do that.
You've never seen me do
I've
that?
never seen you do
Kyle, if you're listening right now, type angry capital letters of all the times I've done that in the comments below.
that. Oh, he will.
Because that's actually mine and Kyle ritual is whenever I have cheese dip and he's there, Oreos are inbound, we're dipping, we're dunking and munching.
So there's something with you in the cream fillings mixed with the cheese that
Sweet-
just does it for you.
Sweet and cheese just does it. When I found out, okay, here's another two things I love that go great together, turns the fuck out. I love beer. I love cheese. Turns out when you fondue some cheese and you pour a little beer in there, it makes it fucking awesome.
Okay, that I believe because
I was skeptical. I'm glad you believe it's not butter.
Well,
when
there's-
I heard about that, I was like, beer cheese? The fuck are you talking about?
Well,
You guys drunk?
The only reason I believe it is because there's so many restaurants that actually sell beer cheese.
I didn't know that.
You go
I
to
didn't know that. It was the melting pot we went to. And they had beer cheese, and I'm like, you guys are fucking wasted. Y'all
think-
need to go home.
We went to, I think Kyle, because Kyle is a big fan of Mellow Mushroom, and he was the first one who took me to Mellow Mushroom Pizza.
Okay, yeah.
And they have that for like one of their appetizers or something. They had like a pretzel with beer cheese, and I fucking had. I mean, you can't really taste the beer.
No,
Just kind of assume that the beer's in there.
it adds just a
It's
richness
weird.
to
It's
it.
weird. It's like a little
strange,
zing
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You're adding germs to more germs.
Yeah, there
That's
you
what
go.
you're doing.
Just bacteria on bacteria.
Yeah.
But a weird one that I do, I guess, which is funny because I thought this was just how you did it for years, and then people
send
started to call me out on it. You're gonna know what it. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this when I tell you, and that is, I like to make macaroni and cheese, and then when I am done with the macaroni and cheese, I put it on a plate.
Oh, yeah, this.
And I take ketchup and I smear it all over the mac and cheese and I mix it up.
Now, let me tell you something. You're not alone, Adam. You don't stand alone on that one.
Okay, good.
From my earliest memories till I realized it was all the ketchup I was eating was giving me the worst acne. Mm-hmm. I was a ketchup fucking whore.
Oh, I
ladies
still
and
am.
gentlemen. I had to stop. Dude, my break out so bad. I don't know what it is about ketchup. Like, as soon as I'm done eating, I immediately have zits in the corner of my mouth. I had to stop. It was a love-hate relationship. I love the stuff, but I fucking hate mac and cheese. I hate it.
I love
depths
it.
from the depths.
It's
of
horrible
my
for you. Don't eat
soul.
it, but I love it.
Not all combinations of shells and cheese, because obviously Alfredo's fucking awesome. And what is
course.
it but more complicated mac and cheese? I'm talking about the stuff the powder that they call cheese.
Yeah,
water,
Kraft.
and the noodle. That stuff is trash. The only way though, if that was the last thing I had to eat, better pray there's a bottle of ketchup, because if there is, I'm living a little longer.
See, when I was growing up, that's how I just always ate it. Every single time my mom made macaroni and cheese, she put the bottle of ketchup out, and that's how she ate it.
Fantastic.
And my mom's side of the family, that's how they ate it. And, and I never was going to people's houses eating mac and cheese, so it was never, like, exposed to how you're, quote-unquote, supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was literally in high school, and I was at a friend's house, and she had made mac and cheese, asked if I wanted some. I said, sure. And then I asked, do you have any ketchup? And she was just looked at me. And I was like, what? Do you have ketchup? Do you not have ketchup? What's happening?
People respond really negatively when they hand you food and you ask for ketchup.
Dude, no.
That's a thing, people.
Everybody says it's disgusting. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is how you're supposed to eat mac and cheese. People are like, no.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what?
People need to back the fuck off, because check it out. First of all,
it is delicious.
If you don't understand the whole
you.
ketchup thing, guess what? You don't need to. It's obviously not for you. Let those of us who love our ketchup eat our ketchup. I have gotten so much shit for putting ketchup on a steak. I put ketchup. Yeah, you fucking heard me there, listener, right now,
there.
judging me silently. I know you're judging me, but yeah, I put a ketchup on a steak. I've done it a couple of times. What of it? You want to fight me through the microphone? Leave a comment down below. Sorry, I got very aggressive. I defend ketchup. But just I have a fried chicken. I put ketchup on. I used to put ketchup on my vegetables. Like, the looks I would get across the table at family functions were of utter horror and disgust. People looked at me like I had a fucking dick growing out of my forehead.
Oh, see, I never went as far as like putting it on things like vegetables or anything, but I was definitely the person to where if I was using ketchup, it was like, I need a mountain of it. I'm the guy that goes to the fast food places and says, listen, Daniela, I need ketchup. Now, what you're hearing is what you're going to do, what your mind tells you to do is to take 3 fucking ketchup packets and put it in that bag. I'm telling you right now, that's not going to do it. I'm going to need you to take both hands, put them in a cupping motion and
make
just
them into cups.
Make them into cups and just scoop both hands in there, and all the ketchup that you pick up, put it in the bag. Now I'm going to need you to repeat that process a second and third time, and then that will be enough ketchup for me today for my one small French fry.
I need to start doing that, because you are right. But do you want any ketchup? Yes, I do. I'm assuming they're gonna stick like 5-6 packets in there. 2. You know who 2 ketchup packets are going to satisfy? Nobody who likes ketchup.
Nobody.
No one who likes ketchup at all. So Daniela needs to get off her fucking ass, make those hand cups, and start scooping ketchup into the bag.
If there's all the Danielas that work at fast food joints right now are going, fucking dicks.
Yeah, you know what? Get on your shit, Daniela. When somebody says they want ketchup, they want ketchup.
And it's
not
always
your sass.
And it's always a beautiful thing when I go to one of those food places too, and I ask for a lot of ketchup, and there's that eye contact that's made, that little twinkle that comes out, and there's that, I got you, bruh.
Oh no, and it always comes from people you'd never expect.
Oh yeah,
I love that little wink when it comes from like a Mrs. Claus looking old lady working at the behind the counter at the Carl's Jr. Like, ma'am, I need ketchup, and she looks at you and she goes, I got you, sweetie. Goes under, does the double cup hand, and just plop on your tray. And I'm like, oh, I could jump across this counter and just make love to you right now. How much ketchup you just blessed me with.
It's so true though, dude. I've definitely been given shit for my love for ketchup before.
Yeah. The hate is real, and y'all need to stop judging. It's 2019, goddammit. You're supposed to be more tolerant than this.
God, politics again.
Another weird one that actually people in a certain part of the country do very frequently was another thing I get looked at weird for doing.
What's
I put
that?
mustard on chili dogs.
Is that weird? Is that supposed to be weird?
Apparently that's a thing that crosses people's eyes,
on top
man.
of the chili?
Yeah.
I just assumed that chili's just another topping, so you could have like ketchup and mustard and whatever on there, and then put chili on there.
That's the way I looked at it too. I figure I could either have cheese if there's cheese, or mustard if there's mustard, because there's usually one or the other. Sometimes I do both. Why not? But yeah, apparently that's something that a lot of people frown on. They're like, "What are you doing to your chili dog, man?" I'm like, making a chili dog. I don't know what answer you want from me.
There's a lot of weird things out there that people get upset about,
Yeah.
but food and ketchup, though, I guess. But, okay.
You are looking sleepy, dude.
I did. It
can't
it hit
see him
me
right now.
It hit me for a second,
triple
and I was
shot-
like, "Whoa!"
That triple shot just forsook his ass. That triple shot, I watched that triple shot leave your body. It's like watching a demon leave a possessed person. You just sort of
man.
like, he went limp for a second, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I had this. It's been an interesting couple weeks for me. So
I've heard.
My sleep schedule is just all over the place. So so I'm used to doing this thing at my work where I close a lot. I'm always scheduled these fucking closing shifts, which is fine. I wouldn't mind that if I wasn't scheduled these closing shifts and then like a couple days later it's like, okay, now you're going to have to be to work at 6 a.m. Right?
Okay.
So, and it's not clopenings. I'm given like a day off between these like closing and opening shifts. But the problem is there's not enough time for my sleep schedule to get like
your circadian
used to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So of course, when I'm constantly doing closing, I'm used to going to bed at like 2 a.m.
Okay,
sleeping in later.
When is it like a sure thing when you're gonna switch from nights to days, or is it sort of like one of those the schedule changes every week sort of thing?
Schedule changes every week. kind of
Okay,
thing.
yeah, you're fucked.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening to me was I went like 2 weeks, 2 consistent weeks working these closing shifts. And then I was given like a day off. And I had 3 of these 6 a.m. starting shifts in a row.
Death metal.
So, yeah. So my body is not accustomed to that yet.
Okay.
So I'm still going to bed at like 1, 2 a.m. and then having to wake up at 4 a.m. for work. Then I'm going to work, and I did this for 3 days, getting like very little sleep because then I had things to do after work. I couldn't just, go take a nap.
Yeah.
And then
Nobody got time for that.
at the end of those 3 days, I drove to California to do a camping trip for 3 days.
Ah.
And I won't go into crazy detail. I'll just say I got fucking wasted for 3 fucking days.
It was from what it sounds like, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in the middle of the California desert.
Yes, that's pretty much what it was. And of course it was this giant like group party camping trip, so there's a lot of people. So, and of course you're up late partying and stuff.
Like
so
you
then
do.
by the time you go to sleep, you're waking up 2, 3 hours, 4 hours if you're lucky later to somebody blaring music, and you're ready to go again. I did that for 3 fucking days.
Did you at any point just pass out from exhaustion? Like just on the spot where you were, just drop?
No, it was. No, funny enough, I didn't, but I could definitely feel that 3 days, that like tiredness kick in. And then after that, cause this isn't over yet.
Yeah.
So after getting those 2, 3 like hours sleeps those days, which by the way, I figured out now just how important sleep is and like how easily it is to like fall asleep at the wheel of a car.
Yes,
There
sir.
was, because I was at this point when I was driving home from California where I knew that the past like 7 days I've maybe gotten a total of like 10 to 15 hours of sleep,
Okay.
For the past 7 days. And then I'm driving home and I'm blaring music, I'm, kind of, hitting my knee, whatever I need to do to just kind of get myself through this last hour drive home that I had. And all of a sudden, I felt myself wake up while I'm behind the wheel of the car.
Yep.
It was just a microsecond, just a very small second. But that's when all of a sudden it jolted in my brain of like, this is how it happens. Your body will literally get to a point where you don't even feel yourself fall asleep. You just do it.
And the fear you feel is intense.
yeah.
But what's even worse is when the fear begins to subside and you start falling
And it
asleep
happens again.
again.
Needless
Yes,
to
sir.
say, immediately after that happened, I had to pull over and just like pound caffeine into my system. But I ended up coming back. Then I got little sleep because I had to work that next morning. Did that job. And then right after I was done with work that day, I drove to Vegas to see my brother and to go to a concert with him. So
Yeah, you were just back and forth all over
exactly.
the place.
And it was probably that first night at my brother's in Vegas where I really got I even slept on his couch too. And I think I slept for like 10, 12 hours.
Jesus,
and it was just my body being like, Adam, we
done.
gotta fucking catch
Yeah.
up. So, but anyways, that was just a couple days ago. So my body is still kind of getting used to sleeping, not sleeping. It's like I wake up and my body goes, well, we don't know what the fuck we're doing today. So it's up to you, Adam. Do what you got to do.
We'll be here if you need us, dick.
But I knew I had to do a podcast today. I was like, I gotta do a podcast. It's got to get done.
You are so lucky I have the coolest wife in the world, because I told her, I was like, yeah, I'll probably do a podcast maybe tonight. She's like, it's gonna be late, isn't it? And I was like, yes. And she's like, all right. So good times there. But
Yeah.
no, man, the whole falling asleep behind the wheel thing is terrifying. And
Yes.
I'm gonna confess something here right now. I don't agree with drinking and driving because I've drank and drove before. Shocker. I did it
you know what?
one time, never ever the fuck
Okay,
again.
you know what? I actually wanted to bring this up because I've had conversations about the whole drinking and driving thing before. And I have this theory, and maybe the theory is going to sound stupid because it's probably going to be one of those things everyone's like, well, duh, is we're always told, we're raised, told by our parents, by whatever authority figures, don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Don't you ever
It's
drink
in
and
your
drive.
face since day one.
Exactly.
Yep.
But hasn't anybody who drinks driven home drunk once or twice in their life? Isn't that just a thing everybody's done?
I think less people are one and done with it like I am than the amount of people who aren't.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yes.
The people who drive
Like
home,
for you, it only took you once to scare
for
ya.
a very small
And
amount
then
of
you were
people.
like,
It either takes a cop behind you and an instant moment of sobering up. It could be, you falling asleep at the wheel, which is what happened to me. And I got a car full of my buddies, and I'm on a Georgia highway trying to head back to a military post, and I'm falling asleep behind the wheel because I'm 8 beers deep, and I'm unfortunately the soberest person in the group. Holy shit, you want to talk about terrifying. Oh, and making it there alive was one thing.
Right.
Earning that Oscar that I got talking to the sergeant at the gate who checked all of our IDs, and I had to feed him a story of, I'm totally sober. They're all fucked up. And then get back to the barracks in one piece. I deserve a fucking medal for that. But
my
no.
word.
But honestly, like that was enough to scare the shit out of me because, like I said, lonely Georgia highway, and anybody who's ever been through the state knows that there are stretches of highway that are just nothing but trees and darkness.
yes.
And when you fall asleep behind the wheel for longer than just a split second, and you're staring down a curve in the road and you're about to go off it, that's that moment when you stop and you have to really decide, okay,
Yes.
can I do this or should I stop? Some people unfortunately go for it and they make it home safe. What's sad is that you never hear about that. You never hear about the people who make it home safe with drinking and driving. You have to hear about the people who get killed doing it. And I understand. You have to hear about that stuff. They have to try and prevent it any way they can. But like with people driving on the wrong side of the highway, you're trying to fight a problem whose root cause you can do nothing about.
Yeah. No, it's true. There was a time. Well, I mean, it's hard also because we live in a society where you're very much chastised for almost trying to do the right thing. Like me, for example, there have been plenty of situations, especially when I was living in Los Angeles, where I found myself in these situations where I would go to these parties with the promise or the intention of staying there that night.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking heavily, not worrying about a thing. And then all of a sudden we're told, okay, everybody has to leave. And it's like, all right, well, I live, 2 hours away, 4 hours in Los Angeles time.
With Los Angeles. That's what you need a real feel for. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I have to go. So at that point, I really have no choice but to go in my car and sleep. But guess what? If a cop finds you in your car,
Vagrancy.
you know, exactly. They can still get you for a DUI even if your fucking keys aren't in the
DUI.
ignition of the car.
Yeah.
But so it's one of those things that's like difficult to. I don't know. You're right. You don't hear about the good people that, you know, get home safely and I guess practice, you know.
I consider
morals,
myself fortunate to have a story about drinking and driving where nothing went wrong.
Yes.
I wish everyone did.
The scariest time I ever had drinking and driving, not that I've done it a lot. That sentence came out really bad.
Yeah, you're like, I do that every day.
I do that every day.
Let me tell you about my favorite times.
I truly don't. I did have one moment though that like really scared me where it was like I had no choice but to drive home. Well, I had a choice, but I made a poor choice and drove home. And it was back when I was in high school, and I was invited to this party out in Glendale. And for people who don't know, Glendale from where I lived was, you know, about an hour, maybe a little over an hour
It's
drive.
fucking far.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
It's far.
And again, went there, asked before going, like, hey, is this a situation where we like crash at your place? Or is this a situation like I can have one beer 4 hours before I have to drive home kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah.
And again, told, yeah, go stay here, stay the night, sleep it off, whatever.
The promises of beautiful, sweet lies.
And I remember I was outside having a cigarette. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning at this point. So we've basically spent the whole night there. So mind you, I'm like wasted and I'm coming up at like 24 hours without sleep at this point. And we're all told, go home. And this was before the ages of GPS or MapQuest because I had followed a friend there. So my only way to get home was to drive so I could follow my friend.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I'm not going to call, you know, fucking 16-year-old me is not going to call my parents and say, you know, come get me.
Nope. And since you were the one of the few who had a car even, there was no one else you could have called.
No,
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah.
So I found myself driving home that like over an hour drive. And dude, it was definitely one of those things where like the entire time I was driving, I was like, I'm like borderline. Like if I had taken one more beer, this would not be working. You know? Yeah. It was like if I took even one last little fucking sip
It's
of
a good thing you
alcohol
didn't do like
in any way, shape, or form.
like a last Jello shot or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But oh, dude,
Oh man.
Drinking's crazy, dude. It's something I really enjoy and I really hate at the same time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because you I don't know about you, but like today I can kick back a few drinks and I can feel great.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know two things. One, if anything goes wrong, I'm about to be thrown into a really, really foul mood because nothing makes a sour Vince like alcohol and bad times.
Yeah.
Two, regardless of how I feel while I'm drinking, in the morning, I'm going to feel like a bag of smashed assholes. I am going to feel like just absolute hamburger shit.
Yeah.
And I just don't like waking up that way anymore. I love my mornings. I'm a huge fan of my mornings. I like waking up at 5 o'clock a.m., sitting on my porch drinking tea and watching the sun fucking come up.
Yeah.
I like hanging out on my porch and not feeling like shit.
Yeah.
I like going for runs in the morning. That's something that really sucks when you're sweating Jim Beam. But I mean, I've been there. I've done that. There was a point in my life where it was like that was the routine was, you know, wake up after, you know, 3 hours of sleep from the 19 beers I drank from the night before and go sweat it out on a 10-mile fucking run.
Right.
I'm not about that life anymore. I'm not. I can have a beer or two and be completely satisfied with myself.
Yeah. Well, when you're like us, because you and I don't drink a lot at all, you know, and so when you don't drink a lot at all, then you go to a party and you have 2 or 3 beers.
Make no mistake,
it's enough to feel.
Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. We have done a lot of drinking collectively.
Yes.
Adam and I, like, that's not even the times we've drank together, but like individually in our lives is just unholy.
Dude, it's...
No human being should be
It's
subjected
true.
to that much alcohol.
I used to just... I think back to like when I first started drinking, back when I think the first time I ever got drunk, I was 14. And these were the days where it's like you're kind of like experimenting because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So if you find yourself in a position where you have like a lot of different alcoholic beverages and mixtures at your disposal, I was like, oh, what does Captain Morgan taste like mixed with a little bit of Mountain Dew? And you know what? Let's put a little bit of vodka in there also.
Just experimenting.
Just
you're an
stupid.
alchemist at that point.
And I remember that even thinking at the time too, when you would get this drunk at this young of an age, is you never woke up the next morning with a hangover. That was just you woke up groggy. You woke up. Did you when you were younger?
Okay.
Because I certainly didn't. Not until I was older.
The third time in my life I ever drank, and trust me, again, those who know me know I am very full of myself sometimes. After my third time drinking, I considered myself a little 15-year-old black belt in drinking already. I had an arrogance and cocky attitude towards alcohol because I had not developed a healthy fear of it yet. I learned spring break of 2005, a very hard lesson in life. Doesn't matter how badass you are. It doesn't matter how badass you think you are. Sorry. Everybody has a limit for alcohol. Yes. Turns out mine was an entire bottle of Hypnotic, an entire fifth of a Hypnotic. We had 2 bottles of Hypnotic and a small bottle of vodka from Walmart. It was all our little 15-year-old asses could scrounge together. I drank an entire bottle of Hypnotic by myself.
Damn. And
proceeded to drink nearly half of this bottle of cheap vodka that we had. I was fucked up. I threw up so hard the next day, blood shot out of my nose.
Oh, damn.
Every sound that existed in my sphere made me want to die. And I did nothing the next day but lay on the couch and hope for death.
See, and how old were you when that happened?
15 years old. 15. I'm pretty sure I had alcohol poisoning. A minor form of alcohol poisoning, but alcohol poisoning nonetheless.
But see, because I definitely did some heavy drinking when I was like that age. Right?
Okay,
like
but
14,
see,
15,
here's the thing.
16.
That was the only time I have ever had what I would consider a hangover. I only count one as a hangover. A hangover is debilitating. A hangover...
Yeah, but you haven't had any, like, over the age of 18?
No. I wake up, my mouth tastes like ass. I smell like shit. Maybe I've pissed myself. There's clothes changing involved. I don't get headaches. My stomach does feel a little upset until I rip that really good first morning fart.
Yeah.
Or have that first, I would have my first coffee and cigarette, and that would get the bowels moving.
Yeah, of
Take
course.
a poop. I feel great. Let's go for a run. Fuck it.
Interesting.
I have only ever had the one hangover. That I would consider that a hangover. That to me.
Oh yeah, well I'd consider that a hangover too.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised it happened at 15 because.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was like my third time drinking as well.
Well, in my experiences though, when I was younger and I would do these kind of, these days of just heavy drinking, these nights of heavy drinking with friends and stuff, and sometimes I'd have to wake up the next day and go to school.
Yeah.
And I always remember feeling, I'd have a little bit of a headache. I'd feel a little groggy, a little lethargic, whatever it was, but definitely it wasn't debilitating, right? It wasn't until my 21st birthday where my cousin threw me a party in Los Angeles, and this was the first time I actually blacked out from drinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, blackout's another story.
Blacking out. So first time I blacked out, and I remember waking up the next morning on the couch, and I remember the first thing I thought to myself was, oh, this is a hangover.
Yeah.
This is what everyone's been talking about. This is what the movies talk about and depict.
Yep.
This is a motherfucking hangover.
Check. Checkity check.
It was horrible.
Vomit, diarrhea. Every sound you want to die. You can't look at light.
Oh, it was so bad.
Their senses have betrayed you.
And I remember my second thought was, why the fuck would anyone become an alcoholic? Like, come on. You want to do this all the time?
That's the beauty of alcoholism. If you can't get hangovers if you're always drunk, dude.
I guess.
You can't get hangovers if you're always wasted. Pro tip. Use your brain, kids.
Oh my gosh. I just remember how just my head throbbing and I mean, that's every single time I'm asked, like alcoholism runs in my family on both sides a lot. So like my parents will get, worried, rightfully so, sometimes with my brother and I. And I always have to just tell my parents anytime they ask or bring it up, I'm like, trust me, you do not have to worry about me becoming an alcoholic. I have zero interest in that lifestyle. I get wasted like twice a year, and then that's it.
I mean, I've done pretty much everything you can do with an alcoholic beverage in your hand. I've done the clubs. I've done festivals. I've done all of that. Do I need to do more? No, because it seems like every time I go to an event now and there's alcohol involved, it just seems sort of trite to me. It seems a little overplayed. It's like, oh, this again. There's nothing really special about it. Like the last time I remember being in public and getting my drink on and actually being a little excited about what I was doing. It's gonna sound really lame. Was when I found out they served beer at the swap meet, the Mesa swap meet.
Really?
They serve fucking beer there. I'm walking around.
But that made you excited?
Yeah.
You were like, fuck
yeah. I'm day drinking at the swap meet. Suck a dick. Like, I'm gonna buy a fucking 50-cent spatula. Shit, I might buy 4. I'm drinking 3 beers. I know that.
Speaking of day drinking, that was definitely one thing I do miss about California, and one thing that I kind of got back a little bit when I did this like camping trip thing in California.
Yeah.
Because here in Arizona, at least where we live here in the valley, you can't day drink. You just can't.
Yeah. No.
The sun,
not during the summer, at least.
No, yeah.
There's maybe a window of opportunity you have in the fall. That's it, though.
I was going to say, I wouldn't even say, maybe the fall, maybe like during monsoon season, you can day drink. Because even during the winters, even if it's cold, it's not the fact that it's cold or hot. It's the fact that it's clear skies, the sun's just shining directly down on you.
I'm actually going to drop a disclaimer. Don't drink outside in a monsoon, because your equilibrium's already going to be fucked up, and that wind's not going to help you at all. Bad advice, Adam. Bad advice.
Oh, I've had some of my best times drinking it during the rain.
Oh man, I've just had good times in the rain in general. I remember when I first moved to this state, we used to live on a golf course, not like literally on the golf course. We weren't putt people, but
it was like the backyard a little.
Yeah. Like there was our backyard, a little 2-foot wall that stopped nothing at all, and then there was the golf course. So we live on this golf course. I totally forgot the point I was trying to make. What were we talking about?
We were just talking about the weather here and how the sun.
So yeah. So when I first moved out here, the first monsoon I ever experienced flooded this golf course.
Okay.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Where before there was a putting green, there was now a lake.
Right.
So the first thing I did, being a kid from California, was I ran out to my garage, grabbed my boogie board, and I was gonna surf's up, brother. I was out there for hours. I had a time of my life. I was out there boogie boarding in like 4-foot deep water on the golf course. Like it was awesome.
Welcome to Arizona.
Until about 45 minutes later, when I realized why my skin was burning. All those nitrates and all those pesticides and all those things they use to keep that lawn nice and pretty were in that water. And guess where I had been soaking? Yes, sir. I blew up. My skin was really rashed and itchy for a while, and I may have mesothelioma, so that means I might be entitled to financial compensation. I'm sorry. I had to
people
drop
from
that
Arizona are going to understand that reference. One of those commercials that you just always hear here.
I don't think that's Arizona. I think that's everywhere.
Is that everywhere?
I thought Shanko was an Arizona thing specifically.
So they were at first.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I didn't know until we started getting people from Oregon coming down to where I work, and they were like, "I'm glad to know my friend in the diamond industry is in Arizona too." I was like, "Oh, Shane Company."
Yeah. So I was actually gonna say. So I actually have a coworker who I had the same conversation with her about Shane. Really quick for context for anybody. So in Arizona, there's this commercial that is played for as long as I can remember. That was, we have this diamond company here called the Shane Company, on Scottsdale Road in Tacoma.
1 mile south of Bell Road.
1 mile south of Bell Road. And it was just this commercial, this radio commercial that played all the time. If you're from here, you know it. It's just one of those commercials. And I was speaking to a coworker at work about it, and they were from Washington.
Yeah.
And yeah, they told me, they're like, oh yeah, we have Shane Company up there too. We're like, what? Apparently it's literally just an Arizona and a Washington thing.
Okay.
Is from what I've been told. But now they're online, so I feel like their commercials go everywhere now. It loses its... It lost its interest with me because his son's taking over now. See, I'm really invested in the Shane Company. He's been with me for my entire life.
Right. You almost feel obligated to go shop at his place.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's fucking mind
Fuck
control.
Jared. Go to Shane Company.
Oh,
was gonna say,
man.
remember
I
those
thought you
commercials?
meant a totally different Jared. I was like, no, he's getting fucked right now. Jared, I thought you meant from Subway.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh, no.
don't go see Jared.
No,
or
no.
throw popcorn at him, laugh.
Definitely was not talking about
Yeah, no,
Jared from Subway.
I didn't know the Jared Diamond or you got it at Jared Bear. That old advertising nonsense, but yeah, diamonds. Worthless. You can make diamonds now, people. Come on. Stop buying into rare gemstones. They're mined by very dirt poor, very hungry immigrants for and paid next to nothing for what the diamonds that they mine. You can make diamonds that are stronger than naturally occurring diamonds in a fucking furnace.
This is true.
Stop this madness. I'm probably gonna get red lasers like painting me. Nah, how many viewers are we up to now? Like, or subscribers?
It's still at the same amount that it was 10 days ago, so we're at 84.
Okay, so I got 84 red dots gonna be sighting me up. They blow me away because I'm talking smack about the diamond industry. Just by curiosity, how long have you? I know we're unchained, but I'm like, how unchained are we right now? What's the time? Man?
I'm going to guess that we're probably at like an hour. Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I was actually gonna say I think this is a good place to stop the podcast tonight.
Aw, chains back on, folks.
I
At least for
know.
right now.
Chains back out for right now.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Next Sunday, we're gonna try to get a 3-person podcast going for you guys, or it'll be Monday for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this podcast with Vince and I. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media platforms. We also have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/hardlymillennial. And do you have any final thoughts for the people at home, Vince?
Oh, the same thing I always have to say, baby. Everybody out there, just be excellent to each other.
Just be excellent, guys. Just be excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening and have a lovely rest of your week.
Bye-bye.